Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Well, whatever.
How about this, Cowboys?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode and edition of the Jersey Boyz Podcast right here on the Chop Sports Media YouTube channel and, of course, the Premier Podcast Network. Your host, of course, Dave Sturchio, alongside nationally known comedian Bret, Ernst, and, of course, the Grinch. The what? The Grinch. America's fan himself, Keith Ernst. Fellas,
Wait.
What?
Just fucking wait 1 second. All right.
Oh, boy. All right.
We got to talk about, we got to say, no, your host, the beer league's own Dave Sturchio, baby. Let's go.
Dude, what a fun time. I mean, you guys know better than me, especially Bret, you know, being on set for something like that. I know it was like low budget and stuff, but it's like, it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool shit, dude. I never acted before in my life. I never got told to do scenes and give lines and this, that, and the third. It's actually pretty dope, man. And I met Manganelli. That guy is fucking, he's great. It was just an awesome experience. Jimmy, I got to thank Jimmy and of course Tom over at 624 Productions for that. That was pretty cool thing. I mean,
so what he's talking about, everybody, is I don't know if you ever seen Beer League, the movie, which stars Jimmy Palumbo, Ralph Macchio, and
Bret Ernst
as well.
Yeah.
But that was in the early 2000s, and they made a series out of it. So there's a TV show. If you're a fan of the film, you might want to check out the series.
Yeah. So they did the first 5. They're like webisodes.
So we're like Eskimo brothers.
Yeah, sort of, sure.
Clearly.
Yeah. So listen, it was a lot of fun. They did the first 5 episodes or whatever. They're like webisodes. They're like 3-4 minute quick hitters. Nothing crazy. This one, like, there's 3 scenes. We started at a house, and then we went to a gym, and then we went to the actual field. And I got to hit some bombs and stuff. And then I thought my weekend would end there, but of course, wouldn't be a total weekend without my return to the professional wrestling ring either. So that was interesting as well. I think I hurt my shoulder. God forbid I do anything for myself.
What's funny is that, like, all right, so you went to the softball field, just started hitting bombs, right?
Right.
Which is what we did when we were at the softball field. But what's crazy about guys, I went on an audition. I mean, like when I first got to LA for a football, it was like a football commercial, right? I'm not kidding you. They asked for people with real football experience. It turned into a one-on-one drills. Like nobody, like before we even got, it was just like, where we were supposed to be like in the background and stuff and like say something to the camera. There was like 15, 20 guys out there. We were covering each other. Like it became a sports competition as opposed to a commercial.
Dude, I'm telling you, Jimmy said the same thing when we were.
Yeah, it's when guys get together, it's crazy, man.
We were playing catch. We were just kind of throwing the ball around, just having a good time. Like Alphonse, he brought back the Italiano mitt, so he had the green, white, and red, the original mitt. So he brought that back. Excuse me. And it was a really cool time, man. I had a ball. But anyway,
I had a ball watching the Niners lose on the plane.
I did too. We'll get into that real quick. Just because, Keith, you're the king of condensed games, and so you watch the 49ers. Besides the fact, that game, but you saw some holes, you saw some things, you saw some that, like, I know Bret has put the 49ers, at the relative top of the NFC. What?
Yeah, you did.
I mean,
did you not?
Not now. I mean, it's
well, not now. He did 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's fine.
Right.
Yeah,
But like,
I was like, wow.
Denounced. Yeah, of course. Because like I said, when you guys watched it, and I would have been the same way, you were filled with emotion. When I watched the condensed version of the Cowboys and 49ers game, I didn't have that emotion because I knew what was going to happen. So I analyzed it more, and I kept saying that they're not that great. Right. We kept them in the game. I mean, you guys were talking about Brock Purdy like he was Joe Montana, and I'm literally making faces while you're saying that on the show, and Bret's telling me, don't make faces. He's the real deal. And you're like, yeah,
He
blah,
is.
blah, blah.
He's a good quarterback, that kid.
But we're not saying
he's
that,
really
but
good.
he might be. I mean, we don't know. The jury's still out. I mean, he's good, but I meant his last 2 games without Deebo Samuel, and he was awful in the fourth quarter last night. Awful.
Yeah, but
awful.
But you take away any team's star offensive receivers. I mean, except for Minnesota. Jesus.
I know I know you contradict that right there. I mean,
because you don't know what you have. You don't know what you have until they're in the game.
Right.
No, I'm sorry, bro.
I still like Brock, man. I think he's a great quarterback. What is he, a 4th round pick 2 years in?
No,
he's Mr. Irrelevant. So he was the last pick in the draft.
Yeah, but see,
go ahead, bro. No, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, though. I mean, those passes had nothing to do with Deebo Samuel not there. They were fucking terrible. What does that have to do with Deebo Samuel, those 2 interceptions?
What I'm saying, he's a 2 quarterback, right?
No, mm-hmm. He's a what?
Right, he throws off his. He's only been in the league 2 years, right?
Yeah, this is his second season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the kid throws off his back foot like Montana did. His progressions are great.
Right, let's stop comparing him to Montana, please. That's the thing that's bothering me.
All right,
I just look.
Can we start?
I do want to
make. Time you guys said Brock Purdy and Joe Montana in the same fucking sentence.
Okay, I do want to make mention of one thing and one thing alone, and I want I don't know if you guys believe in karma or anything like that or something to that effect. But ever since George Kittle showed his "Fuck Dallas" T-shirt, the Niners have not won a game. So eat shit on that, 49er. Nope. Bang bang, you're almost dead.
You know what I love, and we're doing bitch shit right now, by the way, because they fucking own us.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I know. And I'd rather just beat them, but I would love to say I love seeing them whine on every fucking penalty that didn't go their way in that after what we fucking went through against them. I love seeing that. It was awesome.
Yeah.
How's it feel?
Obviously, we're talking about the Niners here, but you also see Sunday Night Football, Philadelphia and the terrific Tuas or whatever.
Tua and the Terrifics.
Tua and the Terrifics. But can you also understand or make sense of the fact that the Eagles did not have one penalty called against them?
That's
not
crazy.
One.
There's got to be at least 1 or 2
in the NFL, where even Bret said on the text how they're cracking down on this, or not cracking down, or at least just paying more attention to the neutral zone and paying more attention to illegal blocking down the field. You're telling me the Eagles didn't commit a damn penalty? Not one? That's kind of wild in today's league. No, I mean, I don't know.
I think the penalty. Go ahead, bro.
No, there were penalties. I watched the game. They just didn't call them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just kind of weird. I don't know.
The worst one I saw was the face mask one was kind of fast. The one when he's
on Cedric? It was on Cedric?
Yeah, it was on Cedric Wilson. I mean, everyone's making a big deal of that. I don't even know if that was catchable. But the one that I forgot the guy who posted it on Chop Sports, where the defensive lineman gets in and he literally grabs the offensive lineman, the Eagles, grabs him by the neck and pulls him backwards and tackles him as Swift runs right by him. I was like, whoa, how don't you see that?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. But I think the Dolphins would have lost regardless. I don't think
if you switch the field, and you put that game in Miami, you're telling me Miami can't pull that one out?
I just don't think they do well against defensive teams, Miami. Whenever they play a really good defensive team, they get kind of beat up. The Dolphins.
Yeah. So look, the landscape of the NFC has kind of shifted a little bit. We also saw the Lions come back down to reality. I mean, they got sparked by the Baltimore Ravens. Those Ravens, listen, if Lamar Jackson can figure it out on how to throw from the pocket, like on a consistent basis, and then use his wheels when it's necessary, that's a fucking offense that you don't want to fuck with at all. Like, those guys are very, very fast, very, very talented. They got running backs for days over there. They lost J.K. Dobbins again to an Achilles injury, and yet they still have 4 running backs that are capable of taking the rock and doing work. Justice Hill, Gus Bus, you know what I mean? Like, these guys are coming out of nowhere, and the Ravens look incredible too. I mean, but I'm more or less talking about the Lions. Do you think, I'll throw it to Bret first. Do you think that the Lions loss, the way they lost, is one of those ones where almost comparable to our 49er loss, where it's just like, all right, nothing's going our way. We're getting sparked. Let's just get the hell out of here unscathed. Let's not get anybody hurt and just kind of walk out of there?
No, I this week gave me hope for the Cowboys again, because, except with the Eagles playing as solid as they did, I mean, you're seeing teams losing that you thought were superior. You're just, the whole landscape is like 50-50, man. You know what I mean? I mean, like, even if Dallas, if we just start winning outright, we could go deep again, man. It gives me more hope.
Keith, do you think there was
a
more
fan.
of a recipe?
I think with the Lions game, they've been put on, I would say, display for the NFL. I mean, going back to last year against Green Bay, when they beat the opener with the Chiefs, eliminated them against the Chiefs opening game. This was kind of the first one where people were like, the majority of people, because I know Bret was like, Detroit's going to beat KC in the first game of the year, but the majority of people weren't saying that. The majority of the people were saying Detroit was going to win that game.
Right.
They were like, oh, you look at everyone that did their picks. Oh, Detroit. I just don't think they were ready for that.
Right. So you think this is beneficial? Is this beneficial for them?
Yeah, of course. So there's I think I texted you guys. They just weren't ready for it. They're still a good team. They're still one of the better teams in the NFL. They just played a lousy game. But also, I think there was a record on the line for the Lions that hadn't happened since like 1940s or some shit. If they would have won that game, I don't know what it was, but it was something where it was like, I don't know if it was a win streak or home. I forgot, or winning teams. I don't know what it was, but there was just, you could even see before the game, they just didn't seem right, because I watched it. Something wasn't right with them, and they could have been intimidated a little bit.
Now, obviously, we've covered some 49ers. We've covered some Eagles. We've talked about the Lions. We have us that's, going into a game against the Rams. We'll get into that in a minute. But, like, that's the 4 conversation pieces. Like, is there anybody that, just based off of this week alone, kind of shot into your radar as far as NFC contenders? Now, do you consider – now, I know Minnesota got off to a really shitty start, but if they put it together, last night, Kirk Cousins looked –
Cousins looked great.
He did not look like the whole prime time bites him in the ass. Kirk Cousins. He looked like he shined last night. Keith, is there anybody in the NFC that kind of raised your eyebrows a little bit?
My problem with the Vikings is they don't have the defense that we have. I think we're kind of similar because of our quarterbacks. And when I say that is what Bret just said about Kirk Cousins is what we say about Dak every now and then. And then Dak shits the bed like Kirk Cousins shits the bed. So offensively, we're kind of similar. I just think our defense is pretty much a couple notches better than the Vikings defense. So that's why I'm like, they just had a great game. And I think the 49ers are, they didn't have Samuel once again. And, McCaffrey's not fully healthy, but goddamn did he ball last night in every play. I saw
a stat last night. Christian McCaffrey set a record last night for most games, consecutive games with a touchdown. If you would have bet like $100 on an anytime touchdown the first week, and every time you won, you rolled over your winnings for 15 straight weeks, you would have made $450,000 on a bet like that. So Christian McCaffrey, if you're a first touchdown type better guy, now I would say it doesn't happen next week or something like that. Start betting against it, because come on, like how many weeks can you actually score a touchdown? Like,
and let's talk about the Vikings too. I meant that touchdown before half.
Wow. Yeah.
Where he stripped it from the 49er was amazing. But that's another thing that bugged me, by the way. Because see, a lot of people have short-term memory. Before the half, we had 1 minute and 2 seconds left against the 49ers and 2 timeouts.
We didn't want to do anything.
We didn't even get a yard, and we downed it with 2 timeouts left. Kirk Cousins takes it with 56 seconds and scores a touchdown with no timeouts left. That's the shit I see, and I'm like, oh, God.
Shout out to Jordan Addison, man. He's coming into his own again, and I liked him coming out of college, USC. And, dude, I'm telling you right now, like, he redeems himself, because that first drive, he got one ripped out of his hands, and then right before half, he rips it out of his hands and takes it to the house. So it's like, it's one of the better plays in the league over the course of the week. But, yeah, I mean, look, the NFC, it'll be interesting. It doesn't seem like – now, let's touch on the Eagles a little bit, because I know that, obviously they took care of business with the Dolphins. They're 90% tush push brotherly shove thing, and you got people saying let's ban this thing. Do you have a stance on that, Keith? Like, do you have a stance at all about this whole quarterback sneak play?
But everybody's trying it, and I don't know why they can't do it like the Eagles. It's got me fucking nuts.
It is driving me
Think
nuts.
about it. If they did that from the beginning and all the way down the field, and
If you
just
get like
rotated
2-3 yards a
quarterback,
clip, yeah, just 2-3 yards a clip. It's a first down every 3 downs.
I'm just saying, yeah. Or it would be something to see actually. Because how do you fucking? It's crazy, man.
I mean, you guys both play defense. Bret, what's the best defense to this? I mean, they're putting a goal line defense in. Like,
Well,
what else can you possibly do?
It's leverage. I meant like you got to get your D lineman got to get lower, but that's why you keep having those neutral zone infractions, you know, and it's hard to stop. I mean, it's a yard. If you're just going forward from the center to the ball, from the quarterback, I mean, it's really hard to stop.
You know, it's funny. Me and my father always say that. Like, whenever it's 4th and inches, we always say, "Okay, just lean forward, lean forward." You know, like you're gonna get it by proxy, by your physical makeup. You're gonna get it because you're 6'3" or whatever. You know,
Hey,
it's like,
Sturch, who's that? What's that awesome linebacker for the 49ers that just been blowing?
Fred
He had an
Warner?
interception against us.
Fred Warner.
Did you? I think that was him. Was that him when Kirk Cousins tried to do the push and jumped over on the goal line and just that's the kind of shit you need to do.
That dude's built different. That dude.
Oh my God, that was such a play, man.
The 49ers defense have some fucking players, including, you know, our friend and yours, Randy Gregory, now on their team. And then now they also got the cast off from the Raiders. Remember the Raiders took like Khalil Farrell or something with like the 5th overall pick in the draft. And everybody looked at Mike Mayock like he was high as a kite. Like, what are you doing? And now all of a sudden this guy's a stud.
Yeah. There was a play that confused me with Randy Gregory when he was in the backfield and then Cousins just threw it to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't call intentional grounding, but there was no, and I think I mean, it was hard to hear.
No, the running back was there, bro. The running back was there.
No, but there was no air under it. So basically,
he literally, it was like a spike. It was like a spike almost, like it's a kill clock.
As opposed to at least throwing it down, you know, there was no air. They didn't call that intentional grounding, which was, you know, I'm glad they didn't.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think that like stuff like that, what you're saying, that what I'm trying to say is they're trying to protect the quarterback so much that if he's really trying not to get hit and he throws it away, you think sooner or later they're going to be like, they can just do that if they want?
Well, I mean,
but it's like
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, well, they pretty much have it that way now where like, if he's, as long as he's outside of their little containment, he could just throw it away. But that should have been intentional grounding because, you know, the running back it was like they were trying to set up a screen it was nowhere near there. He just threw it down next to him. Then it's like, come on,
he basically spiked it from the shotgun.
Yeah,
it was very weird. But yeah, it's funny. We talk about player safety, right? And like quarterback safety, don't hit the quarterback, which by the way, a lot of calls in the, you know, throughout the course of the weekend where I'm just like, man, you really can't touch the quarterback because people are getting called for everything. But then you talk about a play like it could very well be the most violent play of the entire playbook, and that's the quarterback sneak. You're coming in there as hard as you possibly can to try to kill this guy. So it's like all of a sudden we're talking about player safety, but then you're not talking about it at all when Jalen Hurts is under 800 pounds of mass trying to get through. Well, you know, I don't know. It's weird.
There's a difference with that, and there's no velocity behind the hit. So, you know, everybody.
Well yeah, I get that part.
It's almost like a scrum. You know, where everybody's pushing. And, But I'm saying is that like now, if he's standing there and somebody's running at him full speed, it's a little different than if people are just pushing. I mean,
well, that's
obviously,
what I would do.
Well, no, I'm saying you risk, you know, knee injuries and stuff like that. But I mean, you can't.
That's what That's what they're waiting. That's what they're waiting for as far as the science and the health of this. They're waiting for guys to get hurt, and they're going to try to leverage that to the commission and say like, hey, you know, on these push plays, like that's great that the Eagles are 95% effective, but we've also lost 17 players to fucking stub toes. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that, where they can use that data against the league and say, look, this play, it can't happen. There's too many people getting hurt.
I don't think I think they should get rid of it because it's not fair. The defense is at such a disadvantage on that. You know what I mean? So and then now you got people behind him pushing him.
Yeah, I think
it's just.
I thought that was illegal anyway. My dad said that. Like he said there was a rule where you couldn't like let's just say you're near the goal line and an offensive lineman picks you up and drags you into the end zone.
You could push, you can't drag. I think that's what
man.
it is, or something like that.
That's
But yeah,
such a-
I think I agree with. I mean, I don't. If you're going to get rid of the tush push, you get rid of all pushing. You cannot push a player into an end zone if he's getting, that it should just. I mean, if you fall into each other, it's different. But if you're purposely pushing somebody that the defense is trying to tackle, that is an unfair. I mean, the defense is already at a disadvantage for sure.
Right.
They've got every penalty against them. They got to watch what they're doing when they're coming in and they're tackling. And now you got a player that can get behind a running back or receiver or quarterback and just push them while you're trying to make a perfect safe tackle.
Right.
This doesn't make sense.
Now, like honestly, what if there's a quarterback sneak tush push play called by Jalen Hurts and somebody comes flying in and crushes him in his face, because he doesn't get low enough. Now all of a sudden you're gonna throw a flag because you went too high on the quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's like it's such ticky-tacky bullshit. I hate the play because they're so good at it.
But talking about the Eagles, I think the Eagles right now I think them and the Niners are still the best teams. I mean, because once again, the Niners didn't have any breaks last night, but they still almost won the game.
Yeah, they had a shot. They had a shot.
Okay, so that's evidence of kind of a good, still a good team. Yeah. I would say with and then we're right behind, but we're not far off. Once again, like Micah Parsons said after that 49er game, he was right. We're not far off. I mean, I don't think that we're that, and I don't think the Eagles are as good as they were last year.
Well, look, the Eagles, obviously the Miami Dolphins-Eagles game went back and forth for a little while. Eagles pull away at the end, fine. But the week before that, with the Eagles losing to the Jets and Jalen Hurts playing like a human being, you know what I mean? Like, they have flaws. They're not perfect by any stretch. No team is, and we've seen that. Every team has a loss or two in the league. And now Dallas all of a sudden is in that conversation of a two-loss team right now because now are the Niners. You know what I mean? Same thing. They have one extra win, but we had a bye. So now the bye's over, right? Trades are starting to happen a little bit as the trade deadline approaches. The Eagles, I guess, feeling a little suspect in their secondary, bringing an all-pro from the Tennessee Titans for a 5th-round pick and a swap of players. Now, of course, the first thing that people are going to say is, I wonder what the Cowboys are going to do or what they're going to address, because look, let's call it how it is. The first 4 into 6 games of the season, we have these areas where we think like, okay, it wouldn't hurt to have another linebacker or it wouldn't hurt to have another running back or whatever the case may be. But they've already went on record and saying, we're good. We're good here. We like our guys. That's like been this fucking status quo for the Cowboys around trade deadline forever. Keith, do you think the roster as it stands right now is good enough to run with the Eagles and 49ers? I'm talking January.
Yeah, I do.
Now, January.
I think when people make trades, I know they're trying to make their team better, but there's holes that they're trying to cover up that they've been. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like they're not doing that for no reason.
Like Howie Roseman or whatever the hell his name is, the GM of the Eagles, while he's a genius, while pulling off a lot of these trades lately, AJ Brown, you know what I mean? Like he's covering up deficiencies.
Yeah, and I will say that the one thing once again, and let's address the elephant in the room, and it's not Bret's mom. Let's address it.
That's a good one.
The elephant in the room is Zeke Elliott.
What?
Okay, Zeke Elliott. Now, Pat Volckermer, known as the Maniac, if you guys know him, he's been completely silent this year on the running back situation. Wouldn't shut the fuck up. Last year, he's a fellow Jersey boy that's a Cowboy fan, about how awful Zeke is. And I still remember, because I'm good friends with him, I'd be like, hey, he's not even watching the game, this guy. And he's like, how's Zeke doing? I go, he had 2 touchdowns. Let me guess, they were 2 3-yard runs. I'm like, yeah, figures. Like it's that easy. Meanwhile, we can't score in the fucking red zone because we don't have that. Zeke is doing very well for the Patriots right now. Mm-hmm. Very well. He has that burst. He's getting those tough yards that Tony Pollard can't get. Does that mean that Zeke is better than Tony Pollard? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they worked very well together. Mm-hmm. And people always got to disrupt shit. There's always got to be a competition. If something's working, just leave it. And, if we could have got Zeke for what he got with the Patriots, I'm sure we could have. Do you remember the contract he got? I'm not sure.
It was incentive based, let's just say.
Okay. So my point is if we were going to address something, maybe a power running back, and here's another thing, and I'm going to bring it up because I know you guys, you don't think that Deuce is a legit number 2. I think he is, and I think he needs more carries. It's not fair to put him in the Patriot game when it's 38-10 and they know you're going to run and you're giving it to them and they're destroying you. That's not fair. Put him in when they don't know if you're going to run. Give him those situations and watch what happens. Give this kid a chance. Give him more than 5 carries in the first half and see what happens. That's all I'm asking.
I just want to correct you real quick. It was 38-3. We're not giving the Patriots any touchdowns.
No, we're not.
So.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
No, what I was gonna say though, Rico runs hard too, man. I mean,
he does.
If we're going in there more, and we need those tough yards, I mean, start giving Rico some carries. You know what I mean? He runs pretty hard, that kid.
Can I interest either of you in a Leonard Fournette who's out there right now?
No.
Who's just not even like short yardage type guy?
I think if we could, I think we still need O lineman.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I mean, you're saying O-line depth because we're not gonna trade anybody away that's currently as the line stands right now. It's like we're good.
No, we need depth. We need depth.
Yeah, I agree.
Bringing up someone like Fournette is like you get a bruiser that's been in the league too long, and they lose. I mean, you lose this much, and you're not what you. That's why Steven Jackson was out of the league by the time he was 29, 30. Chris Johnson was almost out of. Yeah, I meant these guys. I meant you don't realize not out of the league, but they were just jumping teams and all that kind of stuff. It's hard. It is. That's why it's good, and that's why running back should get paid. Like Bret's saying, Rico Dowdle is actually that kind of running back. I'll take over a Fournette or any of those guys because
100%.
They're hungry. They're young. They want to prove themselves. I mean, another one is what's his name? Freeman from the Falcons. I mean, he had 3 or 4 years that were unreal and just getting hit too many times. He's out of the league by the time he's 30.
Oh wow, yeah, I remember he had Devonta Freeman.
I'm just saying, like it's not. I mean, after a while, these guys get tired of getting hit. They lose a step. They made their money. Their NFL high is run out. That's what makes Derrick Henry special because he just keeps doing. I don't know. I thought 2 or 3 seasons ago. I don't know if you guys remember. I said he's done. There's no way he's gonna keep doing this, and he keeps doing it. So
and he's like choke slamming guys.
Yeah, exactly.
His stiff arms are just brutal.
So there's the exception, obviously.
So I'm looking around, and obviously the trade deadline's about to hit, and the Cowboys just don't seem like they're going to be making any moves. If they do, they do great to add, wonderful. If they don't, they don't. But in come the Rams, right? So now we have a 1:00 start against the Los Angeles Rams, who are coming off a loss, and you look around that well, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Before you get into the Rams, really quick, worst Dallas Cowboy trade ever off the top of your head, Roy Williams.
Oh yeah, no, Roy's the number one.
Best Dallas Cowboy trade off the top of your head before
Herschel Walker.
That's a good call.
Recently, guys we got before Herschel Walker or after, other than Herschel?
Yeah, but more recent. Would you say after Herschel?
The best trade we ever made?
Just the best. It doesn't have. I mean, we don't make. Not everybody makes great trades. Just what you would think. Would you go with Amari? Maybe.
Oh yeah. Well, we gave up like 2 first-round picks for Amari.
Did, but I meant you got to admit. I mean, you remember how dismal our offense was before he got there, and that's the year we went to the divisional playoffs against the Rams and lost.
Yeah, we ripped off like 8 straight wins and shit.
Yeah, with him. So maybe I would say. But anyways, I was just thinking of like what trades like has it ever really paid off for us besides Herschel? But we traded that away. You know what I mean? I'm saying
talking about like players acquired.
Yeah, even though we got Isaac Holt from that trade, who was a badass, and Dixon Edwards, who was a badass.
And we drafted Emmett. And
no. I'm saying in the we didn't draft them. We got them from the Vikings.
Oh, in that trade,
they were actually, and also Paul Palmer, who was the running back during our 1-15 season. Yeah, he was a running back. That led us to victory. He was pretty good. He used to do the Nestea splash. He'd score a touchdown. And there was a whole thing where you go back, and that was his celebration. Anyways, sorry.
All right. So in come the Rams, right? Big game, NFC game, home game, back home.
Hey, Sturch, big game is understatement.
Yeah,
this is.
I'm trying not to. I'm trying to not. What'd you say?
Dude, Sturch, you got all the clips.
Yeah.
Can you please go to every game and say every time Bret says this is a must win? Can you do that, please?
And just make a mix of it, just like
make a.
Well, here's why. When you're looking at the landscape right now, we're really a game. Well, we're a game behind Philadelphia. But as far as the wild card, if we're jockeying for a wild card, now mind you, we've already lost to the NFC West. We lost to Arizona. We've lost to the Niners. You can't lose to the Rams. and then going to Philly 2 games behind them, and God forbid we lose that game, it's not looking good, man.
I see this. I see Bret's point as far as must win because of the fact that Philadelphia is next. And Philadelphia's next. And if we lose this game and Philadelphia, takes care of business. Are they even playing this week, Philly? I don't even know.
My point with the must-win games, then if you're going to say it's a must-win now and say we lose and we lose a couple more times, you're not allowed to say must-win in week 14.
Okay, well, hold on. I didn't say it
was
was
a must-win.
I think
I didn't say it was a must-win against the Jets. I didn't say it was a must-win against Arizona Cardinal when we played.
I would hope not, because it's the first few.
The situation we're in now. Wait, if the situation we're in now, and if you're looking at tiebreakers, we have 2 NFC losses. Okay, 2. We didn't lose to an AFC team. Even if we tie right now, let's say we win all of our games, Niners win all their games. We now don't get home field advantage because if we're tied with the Niners. This is how you got to think this midseason or getting earlier in the season.
So what you're talking about is seeding. I mean, not seeding, but home field advantage. Because right now we're comfortably in a wild card.
Sure, but I think what Bret is saying is, is the fact that if the Cowboys slip up and they don't win over a Rams team, and then you do slip up and you can't get past Philly, then all of a sudden you're looking at like 3 or 4 games back of Philadelphia with 2 months to play in the season, and that's a hard thing to make up.
I'm sorry for you guys, because you picked them to win the division.
Correct.
I picked the Giants like a fucking fool. At least yours is going to be closer.
Well, if you just flip it upside down, you're golden.
But I bet I never planned on them winning the division. I mean, I think they can now. I have more faith now than I do before the season. But you're talking about I'm talking about them just getting in the playoffs. This is not a must win. If you're talking about for them winning the division, I might be like, okay, possibly, maybe. But for getting a wild card, no, not at all.
Right now, if the season ended, we get the wild card, right? If we lose to the Rams and they're 4-4, and let's say we're 4-3, and we lose to the Eagles, okay, in a tiebreaker, we'll lose. We wouldn't make the playoffs.
What? Oh, you mean at that point?
Yeah. So you're looking at it. It's another key game.
So you're bringing up a must win, including another game the next week. I mean, a must win to me is you fucking lose, your season's in turmoil, you're done. That's a must win to me. So we got to define must win.
I think your both definitions of must wins are different. That's all.
That's what it is. Then that's what it is. That's what it is.
100%. Because when I'm doing the math here and I'm looking at who we lost to, and God forbid we lose to the Rams this week, and then we come into Philly. Now, if we beat Philly, okay, but now we're still 2 games. What do you mean? What the fuck is your problem? Seriously, what the fuck is your problem, man?
It's just God forbid. If that happens. If it happens, we'll be okay. It's too early to go fucking nuts.
To the Rams and we lose to the Eagles. You think we're going to be okay?
Yeah, I'll worry about the Eagles. I'm not looking at the Eagles right now. I'm just saying let's get by the Rams. That's it.
All right. Well, we're not
talking about the Eagles because our season's still going. Our season's still going.
We're not on the team where we should just take it week to week. We're fucking not playing.
Yeah,
so
we should.
Looking at scenarios, and God forbid you end up being wrong. We're fucked.
Well, I'm looking at it as a player. Oh, so if right now I don't want them saying
you're not a player. You're a fan.
Or whatever. Okay, so are you.
I know. That's how I'm looking.
Here's my point. No. Here's my point, bro. if they're sitting in the locker room going right now, hey, we better beat the Rams because we might lose to the Eagles. That's some bitch shit, and that's not happening.
That's not happening.
All right,
that's my point. You're talking about the Eagles. Your whole thing of a must win is because we're going to lose to the Eagles.
Brett. Listen. Brett is
moron.
Listen, Brett is looking more.
Wait, hold on.
Landscape.
I can defend myself. I'm not in the locker room right now playing for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm looking at the fact that we tanked to the fucking Cardinals. We got blown out by the Niners. 2 NFC West teams. Now we're playing the Rams. If we lose the Rams, if we lose to the Rams and then we lose to Philly, we're fucked. We're in bad situation. Oh, really?
I mean,
yeah, really.
I
We
don't
got
listen.
fucking 10 games left. We're
I'm
not
more.
fucked.
I'm more on Brett's side. If we lose
Of
2
course
games in
you
a row,
are,
we're-
Sturch.
no, it's not even that. I'm just saying,
No,
like,
it's a little Sturchness. You get I get it.
no,
But go ahead, let's
and
talk.
I just know. Listen, here's my overall landscape here, okay? Like Brett's looking landscape. I'll
Wait, hold
continue
on.
to look
You're
landscape.
biased. You understand what I'm saying, right? You understand what I'm saying.
I get it. I got it.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm saying, like,
Go ahead, sir.
what I'm saying is, landscape wise, right? If for whatever reason the 4-2 Cowboys become the 4-4 Cowboys,
Mhm.
things won't be looking good. However, I will say this: the NFC as a whole, that 7 seed, that last playoff seed, will more than likely be under 500. I want to say, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's my point. That's
your
what I'm
point is
trying to
correct.
say.
Your point is correct as well. That the Cowboys are almost. I don't want to say this and knock on all the wood, and God forbid, because I will, God forbid this one. If they, if they,
That is a God
they
forbid.
should be a lock
Yes,
to make the postseason.
they should.
However,
They absolutely should.
the road to get there, if you're 4-4 or 6-2, is a way different
It
one.
is. It is.
you know?
So a more comfortable one, of course. But
How about this, Keith? If we lost to the Jets and the Bills and we beat Cardinals and the Niners, I wouldn't be so worried about losing to the Rams if we lose to the Rams. So we've got 2 NFC West losses right now. And on top of that, the Vikings just beat the Niners. So let's say the Vikings win at 4-4. All of our losses are in the NFC West, right? We
All
can't
right.
take a third loss in the NFC West.
why not? If we had a better record than them, who gives a shit?
You can't take a third. You can't take a third loss in the NFC. Don't worry about the NFC West.
Yeah, but
Like,
I meant
it's NFC.
it's all about the record we're going to have at the end. Okay. And I said we'd be 11-6. That was my prediction. If we're 11-6, we're in the fucking playoffs.
Correct.
Okay. Our schedule is very favorable. I mean, and the only way to prove this must-win point is by the Cowboys losing this week and next week, and I don't want to do that. So you could call it a must-win. You could call it a must-win. I'm saying I just want to win the game. It's not a must-win, but I would like to win the game to stay in the division competition.
How about this? If we lose,
That's what I'm saying.
If we lose, we're not in good. We're still alive. I'm not saying we're out of the playoffs, but it's going to be really fucking difficult with the Seahawks being 4-2. The Vikings will probably win next week or this week. Let me see. Because
So basically,
we're doing scenarios. It's too early in the season to do these scenarios, man.
now, at what point? Now, Keith, at what point is it not too early anymore, man?
When it starts getting crunch time, the teams are going to be different. All these records are going to be different after Thanksgiving. And there's 4. You want to start doing this when there's 4 or 5 games left? That's fine. You're doing it we got 10 games left, and you guys are doing scenarios right now.
No.
I'm mad.
That's generic. Explain something to you, fucking Grinch. All right,
You're the one yelling at me, bro. I'm not yelling at you. You're screaming.
Going on from these
You're calling me names. You call me a hump.
How about this?
We'll be back right after this commercial break. Send us the commercial.
Well, hold on. I'm going to debunk everything. Hold on. This is it.
This isn't a must win.
Hold on. This is it. This is it for me. No, I'm going to prove it. I went back to an episode on purpose. Okay. Here's Bret. Hold on. Let me pick it up. Here's Bret saying this game is a must win right before our preseason 4th game of preseason. He said it was a must win. Hold on. I'm fucking with you.
Listen, I get both sides. Early, fine.
No, I don't
NFC,
get his side. I don't get his side.
Hey, it's a must win. Look, if we don't listen, it's a must win. If Ben DiNucci does not step up in preseason, our whole fucking season is done. It's over. Because we're going to go into the regular season. We didn't beat any NFC teams in preseason, and we should have beat this team in preseason. Right. And it's sad. It's too early.
Let me get back to this point then, okay? Let me get back to this point. It's an important game, and here's why. If we lose this game, all right, because we're talking about the Rams, that puts us 3 losses to the NFC West, which is not good. Now, let's say if we go in and we beat Philly, which I'm hoping to. Now we're 2 games behind. Because if we beat Philly, correct, and we're tied, who's still ahead of the division?
Dallas.
So let's say we go in, Philly's 5, we're 5-2, and they're 5-2 or whatever, right? Who's
They got to
who's
lose.
winning?
They got to lose. They got to lose this week.
Wait. So
They
you're
only have one
saying that
loss.
you're saying like
No,
if we
if they're 5-1 and we win, and then we go to Philly and we play Philly, right? And we beat Philly, and now
we're
they're
number
5-2.
one.
We're number 1.
Yeah, because we won head to head against them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm saying if we lose this week, and even if we beat Philly, then it's still, it's I get nervous about this because every year at the end of the season, right, when you're looking at the wins, losses, the ones that we should have won, the ones that we shouldn't lose, it always comes into play. Now, the other thing that's really important is that if you're looking at momentum as a team and where we're at, because the Chargers game, again, this week gave me a lot of hope. I was very dismal after that Niners loss, and not just because of the Niners, it's how we played, but, and then to beat the Chargers, okay, great comeback game, which I think we always do, right? Isn't that the record? We're like 11-1 after getting our asses
After
kicked.
a loss, yeah.
So
it's since 2020, yeah.
We can't keep playing ping pong with ourselves. We got to start dominate. We got to start dominating. We got to start playing as a team, but with consistency. And especially if we're going to go play Philly the week after and play them. And yes, I'm looking 2 weeks ahead, but I'm not on the team, so it doesn't matter. I'm a fan.
All right. So how do you feel about the Rams? I mean,
Well,
like,
the
again,
Rams, I think they got I think they're like 16th on defense, but they're ranked higher than us in offense. They got Goff. It's a pretty evenly matched team. It's in where is it at?
Stafford, yeah.
I'm sorry, Stafford.
It's in Dallas. It's in Dallas.
It's in Dallas. So, it's going to be a tough game, man. The Rams are not just going to lay down. I don't know who's.
And look,
no NFL team lays down. Yeah.
What?
Of it.
Does anybody want to tell me the Cardinals record, by the way?
But they're fucking trying. You know what happened with them? You know what happened with them is that they got film. And I'm being serious. There's film. I mean, when you just insert a quarterback, insert a system, they got film. If we played the Cards again, it would be a different ballgame for sure.
Probably.
Yeah. If we played the Niners again, it'd be a different ballgame. Let me ask you guys this question, okay? All jokes aside, do you think mentally that Dallas got a little psyched out, and now seeing that they can lose to Cleveland and they just lost to Minnesota, that that mental edge is gone? And on top of that,
here's something here. Yeah, go ahead.
The way they beat the fuck out of us, and then to see Cleveland beat them, and then not Cleveland, was it Cleveland, right? Who beat them?
Yeah, Cleveland.
To see Cleveland beat them, and then Minnesota beat them. Maybe Dallas is like, oh fuck, what were we ever even worried about?
Well, here's the thing. They said right before we went live on the show, I was watching Pat McAfee, and they were talking about the Niners, and both the Browns and the Minnesota Vikings did the whole boombox entrance. Like they went in there loosey-goosey. They were not intimidated by the 49ers like I feel like Dallas psychologically was. So now, yeah, Bret, to your point, I think that seeing that the 49ers, it's the Drago effect, bro. You see, he's not a machine, he's a man.
He can bleed.
Yeah, like he's cut, and I think the Niners are reeling right now a little bit, and I think that does bode well for a team like the Cowboys, who may have lost a little bit of edge or a little bit of confidence in themselves after getting destroyed, right? But then they come back, they'd have the big win against the Chargers. Now they got a big week coming up against the Rams. I don't know. I feel like it's what's so funny? I feel like this is a good thing for the Cowboys. What's so funny?
It's a must win in preseason. She steps up.
Oh my
God. And if you look at the Cleveland game, by the way, with the Niners, if you look at the Cleveland game with the Niners, it's shocking that they lost to PJ Walker. Seriously. Like that's what, if they lost to a Deshaun Watson led, even though Deshaun's playing like shit too, but just the mystique of Deshaun Watson alone.
Yeah,
if they lost to that Browns team, because the Browns defense is not, even though they let Minshew have fun with them.
Myles Garrett is a fucking freak of nature.
He is. And you got to look, they scored touchdowns for Cleveland to beat the Colts. They were always on the field because the offense couldn't move. So for the Browns to do what they did against the Colts was amazing. I know the score says 38-39, but it's not. The Browns defense won that game. So I think the Minnesota game is a little more shocking than the Browns game to me.
All right. So,
especially since Kirk Cousins wasn't shocked once. I'm shocked. I meant sacked once.
He wasn't shocked either.
Well, he was once, but he threw the ball at his feet.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he was dead. He was pretty much dead to rights at that point. All right, so Bret, staying with the Rams. Obviously, you've seen them play the first.
This is the biggest game of the season.
Well, let's pick the biggest game of the season because we got to figure this out, right? The Cowboys coming in 4-2 off their bye. Rested, nobody relatively hurt outside of the people that we already know are hurt. No more, no LVE, no status updates there. I haven't really checked into the practice stuff yet. I don't even think they have practiced yet. I think they're back tomorrow. If today, if anything, maybe do the walkthroughs and shit. But when you look at the Rams team, they're kind of up and down. Good coach. Matt Stafford plays very well sometimes, but then he's a slippery slope kind of guy where if he goes down and he starts playing, from behind, he's not that great of a quarterback. Cooper Kupp has been doing his thing. He was shut down last week. They got Nakua all of a sudden, this new phenom receiver. A running game. They lost Kyron Williams I believe he's on the IR, so they're kind of piecing together a running game. Bret, must-win jokes aside, do the Cowboys get this thing done?
Yeah, I think we win 20-14. And I think it's again, this is the most important game of the season. No, yeah, I think we won 20-14. And then we go into Philly and look, again, it's so crazy, but that the Chargers game, said a lot. But I still don't know who our offense is after, what are we in week 7 now? I don't know who the fuck we are, man. I mean, defensively, I think we could, we could shut the Rams down. I just don't know if we're still able to put up points. I mean, our red zone is trash, man.
But you got them overall, though. You got them 20-14 a win, right?
I got us 20-14. I think we win.
Keith, you're going into this one. It's to you. It's not a must win. It'd be nice if they won the game. Did the Cowboys win this one?
So, if you guys remember last year, we beat them in LA. Cooper Rush was our quarterback. Pollard had a big game. They pretty much had the same defense, if not maybe a little worse than last year. You have Kupp back, which is huge, and Hokawaka, whatever the guy's name is, Pokanawa. What's his name?
Pocahontas. No, Nakua.
Dude, the guy's a monster. You know what's funny
great.
is I'm really gonna know his name by the end of this game. He is. He gets open.
And if it's fucking Kevin Burkhardt and Olsen, all you hear is and Nakua's wide open.
I know. They do have Henderson back at running back, who played pretty well even though they lost to the Steelers. I do see now, you got to bring up Stafford. Mm-hmm. Okay, he's from Texas. He plays well when he comes there. Okay, I think he's been there 3 times off the top of my head. The first time was the Tony Romo comeback. The Tony Romo debacle when Barbie Carpenter returned the interception for a touchdown. Remember that? We were up 26-3 and lost. The second one was the playoffs.
That was 2011, by the way.
The second one was the playoffs in 2014, where we had a phantom. Yeah, but we had a phantom penalty PI picked up that could have won the Lions the game. I don't know if you remember that game. It was right.
That game was in Detroit.
No, it was in Dallas.
You sure?
100% positive. The playoff game?
Yeah.
The one before the Packer game was in Dallas.
Wait, Detroit was in the playoffs that year. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. But they could have won that game. That was a Stafford. And then the third time.
But Hitchens' fucking face mask was ripped down too. So that was the debate there. I remember that.
But the third time was a couple years ago. And we beat them. I'm sorry. I missed one. Dak's rookie year. There was one as well. So that's 4. Remember Dak's rookie year, last game of the year season when we ran him out? Remember Des Bryant threw
a lefty
touchdown? Yeah, that was that game. And then the last time he was there, he had a good game when Golden Tate was their receiver.
I'm Golden Tate.
But we still beat him. So the last, let's see, times at Texas Stadium, the last 5 times, we're 1-4. He's 1-4 against us. I don't know if anyone cares about that information, but
I do.
What the fuck, man? I don't remember any of these fucking games. All I know is if we don't win this game,
that'll give us
So
three
how
NFC
awful would
West
that be?
losses.
wait, how awful would that be if we lost and then we missed the playoffs because of this game?
I know.
Then
That would be great.
we will revert
Look,
back and we will check on the receipts.
I think that our defense wins us this game. I think
Okay.
they come out hot. I think that obviously the Rams might have a good first drive like every other team. But I feel we pull away. I think Stafford gets happy feet. I think we get at the quarterback. Our offense does enough to chip away, go down the field, control the clock. Hopefully McCarthy watches last year's film and kind of plays the kind of same game with the offense with Dak at the helm. I'd say 27-30 to 6.
30 to 6?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I have the Cowboys winning this game 23-17. I think it's gonna be a little closer than what people think. And there is one storyline that neither of you two have brought up. I'll bring it up right now. The return of one legend, Bret Maher, will be in the building back in Dallas as the kicker for the Los Angeles Rams against automatic Aubrey. I feel like they should square up at fucking 50-yard line. Just like, let's fucking go. Huh?
What did I say? What did I say the score was going to be?
You said 30 to 6.
Exactly. Why is it 6?
Maher's 2 banger field goals.
No, Maher misses an extra
the extra point.
And that's the only time they score.
All right. Well, listen, I think it's going to be a little closer to what I want it to be. Obviously, I would love for it to be the fucking laugher that Keith's about to put
Well,
up
no,
there,
it's not a laugher now. I think it's we just pull away. It might be like 10-6 or 13-6. And then at the end, we take advantage.
Well, once we know that they have to pass or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
Like something like that. Yeah.
right.
Let me ask you guys though, really quick. I know we got to wrap it up, but after seeing this week how we played last week, okay. Obviously, to me now, I think it's a clean slate, right? Because to watch the Niners fall, I mean, I'm still worried about the Eagles, even though they lost the week before or whatever. Do you really think though that our offense is firing on cylinder? Like, do you really see us as a disciplined unit that can,
I think we saw a couple more elements that we could potentially expose to the rest of the league, or at least show or put the league on notice a little bit, where Brandon Cooks finally showed his face, right? And he got into the end zone. And CeeDee Lamb was fed early and often in that game against the Chargers. So we know we have the outside and if Michael Gallup comes down,
that's what I was going to say. This Gallup Dak thing. I mean, they're not on the same page.
It's not working out right now, but I truly believe that, like, as the season goes long, and now that we're about to be 7 games into the season, you hope for those things, because that's why you get a guy like Cooks to free up a Gallup, and that's why you get a Gallup on the outside to free up a Cooks. Their running game is still kind of bothersome to me. I know Pollard is that dude and he's our guy, but like, I don't know. I'm not seeing it yet. He's not, for me, I'm not confident in him being a bell cow yet. And getting multiple carries a game, or at least, doubling up the second guy. Offensively, I think the tight ends have a better day. The Cowboys offense, I think, will be better as time goes.
Right,
I really
Keith,
do.
Keith, because you mentioned the tight ends too. It feels like our tight ends haven't really been crescendoing. I haven't used that in a while. It looks like the receiving core, came to life against the Chargers. And of course, Dak played the best game I thought of the season. But Keith, what do your honest assessment of our offense?
Well, I think that they're with our defense, they're good enough to win. That's all I'm saying.
But I meant, how are they playing? Like, I still don't know who the fuck they are. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I mean,
if we were to grade them, we graded them last week, right? I mean, after the Charger game, we graded them. So it's pretty much, I don't know, man. I mean, it's hard for me because I didn't have big expectations for them. That's the problem. I mean, so what I see is what I in your favor. What I see is what I expected. But what I'm saying, what I see is what I expected. Mm-hmm. So I think they're playing up to par.
Right. All right.
I just don't know if we're good enough, like if we're that good of a balanced team.
We're about to find
we
out.
We definitely need turnovers and help and shit like that. But I wanted to bring up real quick that another thing that's playing in our favor is this being a 10 a.m. game for the Rams. I know it's 1 p.m. for you, but it's 10 a.m. for them. And we had
12
a week
p.m. for the Cowboys. Yeah. So
but I'm saying, but we play 10 a.m. games. They normally don't.
We don't,
I mean,
and historically, lately, at least in the last couple seasons, the Cowboys have not gotten up for these 1 o'clock games.
They haven't. They haven't. No, they haven't.
So
but
I expect a slow start.
But my thing is, though, they've had the bye week.
Sure.
But they've had time. I mean, they just played. They're coming in. They're going to play at a time that they don't normally play in.
Mm-hmm.
We've had 2 weeks to prepare. I just like the whole situation. I do.
Yeah. So I guess when you're a West Coast team, you're never scheduled at a early slate.
Never.
Right? Okay.
Never.
That's interesting. All right. Well, look, we all got the Cowboys winning this one. Different scores here. Obviously, me and Bret are a little bit more on the timid side. Bret thinks this is an absolute must win, so we have to get it done. I, for one, think that it'll be close, and Keith thinks that they're going to just walk the dog throughout the last portion of the game. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll be back next week.
I hate this team so much. This team gives me anxiety every week, man. I was telling, if you think about it, as I've only been happy 3 years.
It's crazy. It's insane.
3 years. That's it.
That's why you got to take it's a week to week league. That's why you got to take the good with the bad. I know. It's such a shame. Anyway, so that'll do it for this week's episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast. Join us every week right here on the Chop Sports YouTube channel, of course, the premier podcast network. For Dave Sturchio, Bret, and Keith Ernst, this has been another edition and episode of that said show, the Jersey Boyz Podcast. We'll be back next week.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.